Roughly on time. We thank you, Lord, for the people that are we on here? Or? Okay. I thank God for Joe and Pedro. They are so faithful, always here with us. And we include everybody. If you have my cell phone and you're watching, just text me, let me know you're out there. Otherwise, just go over to Facebook and let me know you're on. I'll click over there and I'll be able to communicate with you that way from our page. Amen. I love it. Father, I praise you for all that you're doing in each and every one of our lives. Thank you for the joy that's in each and every one of us. Thank you for the fruit that's growing in each and every one of us. Thank you for the people that are on their way. I thank you for the friendships that are being formed. Thank you for each individual life that comes. Thank you for our upcoming conferences. Thank you for my three. I thank you for Matthew and Taraka and Janan. Thank you for their three, their three, as we just continue to move out. Thank you for the faithfulness, the strength to be faithful that it takes, that you give us, that we can't take credit for. We just give you glory and honor and praise for it in the name of Yeshua. I just worship you in the name of Yeshua. Amen, amen, and amen. So if you're online and you're watching us today, we just greet you and thank you. Just let me know you're out there. If you're out there, just let me know. Email me at stratton.daniel26 because I don't have the Faith Exchange at Gmail on my phone. So hit me stratton.daniel26 at Gmail so I know you're there. Then I can talk to you a little bit. That'll be great. Praise the Lord. Stratton.daniel26 at Gmail. Or if you have my cell phone, just text me. If you don't have my cell phone, I'm not going to put it out over the air. That'll be great. There's a small group here today, so we may not go quite as long. That's why I'm trying to include the people that are online. In my studies over the last couple of months, I've been working on discipleship in my own life, and I checked the sound. I got a comment from Rachel Lewinston that the sound is scrambled. See if we can just see what we can do to improve it. Okay. Good job. Well, that's you came in this way and then went out that way and came back? You are amazing. What's that? Awesome. I've been reading some older books, some by Dietrich Bonhoeffer, but I've also been reading some Martin Luther. Some things outside of the box a little bit for us in the faith circles. And some of the things, even some of the things that I taught today on concept of vows, keeping your word, letting your yes be yes, your no be no, and also being the salt of the earth, the light of the world, and really being there for one another. It's important that we think that through. In every generation, the clergy or the body of Christ or the true believers, which are not always the same thing. The clergy is not always the true believers, which is important to understand. You got me something flavored here. What'd you get? Was this like blueberry or something? French vanilla. You know, Kim is always trying to do something with my... he's trying to bring me a little style or something. I don't know. All right. But in studying these things, I try to get a perspective, because Luther, for example, writes a lot about kicking against the pricks, being true to the Word in light of what was being taught in the day, in light of what he was taught, trying to hear the Word of God outside of what was popular. Bonhoeffer the same, trying to discover it in and through practical application rather than discovering the truth of the Word in the classroom, trying to discover what does the Word really mean in fellowship, and what does it mean in basically by taking what it says and doing it, rather than taking what it says and then talking about it. You know, what do you think this means, and what do you think that means? Like a debate, you know, which is what happens a lot. So you take scriptures like John 5, for example, and Jesus is teaching. Now I'm going to use some black letters here, which I don't do a lot of. I'm going to use them to set the scene. And Jesus had just healed somebody. You know, take up your bed and walk in John 5, verse 12. But the one who was healed did not know who it was, for Jesus had withdrawn, a multitude being in that place. Afterward, Jesus found him in the temple and said to him, "See, you have been made well. Sin no more, lest the worst thing come upon you." The man departed and told the Jews that it was Jesus who had made him well. Now, he didn't know that Jesus had even done it right away, but now he knows who it is. So he runs off to the Jewish people, or the leaders, and says it was Jesus. For this reason, the Jews persecuted Jesus and sought to kill him, because Jesus had done these things on the Sabbath. You know, Jesus heals a man, which is a miracle, which you would think would be a good thing, and the Jews want to kill him. But here he is, he's doing some things. He's applying the Word of God. They're working, and he's being persecuted for them. If you begin to really do the Word of God, and they begin to work miraculously, there will be a form of persecution that will take place. Now you see, you may ask yourself what that is. More than likely, Luis, no one is going to try to kill you. Leroy, nobody's going to want to kill you. Okay. However, some of your worldly friends may say things about you that are murderous, meaning they may speak ugly of you. Their words will be, you know, derogatory. They'll be negative. They won't speak well of you necessarily. They may even want to break off the friendship. If you start choosing the Word of God and choosing the ways of God, choosing the things of God, choosing the truth of God, choosing these things, really choosing them strongly, choosing your loyalties to Jesus, loyalties to Yahuwah, more than anything else, and serving people and really applying them and telling the truth in their lives, a lot of people are going to speak ugly of you. Even church people to a certain extent. You know, I've been tough on Luis in the last couple of months. To his face. But not just to his face privately, sometimes to his face in front of others. True. In boot camp, you guys have been there. Eric has been. Michelle has been there. Maybe even Ashley a little bit. Kim certainly has been there when I've been tough on Luis. I've hurt your feelings a number of times. Right or wrong? Come on up, grab a mic, defend yourself. Willie Mae's been there.
Yes.
Right, Willie Mae, come on. Okay. How did it make you feel?
Embarrassed.
Hold it up.
Embarrassed.
All right, first of all, stand up really straight. Okay. What are we working on with you?
Okay.
All right, put that mic up by your mouth. I want to hear your voice.
I felt embarrassed.
What is our goal with you?
Self-confidence.
Self-confidence, but what do you... Speak right into there.
Okay.
All right, let me help you with that. Put it right there on your chin.
Okay.
But hold your head back. Okay. Look at that clock on the wall.
Okay.
Okay. I want to see your shoulders back like this. All right. Put your heels together almost like this. All right. Shoulders back. I want you to feel your butt cheeks come together in the back right there. All right. I want you to feel all that. All right. I want you to over your breath. Right. I want you to feel that. I want you to feel your breath because I don't want to hear any mumbling. Now bring that thing up.
Okay.
Now don't put your head forward like that, like a duck.
Okay.
I want your head back.
Okay.
Right? Right? No, I'm teaching you some things.
Okay.
Now this is important because when you teach a class, right?
Yes.
Come on, get your shoulder over
Yes.
I want you to feel this. Go against that wall over there. Put your heels against the wall. Okay. Put your shoulders against the wall. Okay, now pull your right there. Just right up there. Okay, let me hear you talk.
Okay. I feel embarrassed.
You felt embarrassed.
Yes.
What's our goal with you?
Build my self-confidence.
Right? For what reason?
So I will not be afraid of anything.
Okay, don't mumble. I want to hear every word you say.
So I will not be afraid of anything.
Right, because you're going to be a very strong what?
Leader.
Right. You're going to be a man.
Yes.
Right? How's it working out?
Working out okay.
And what are the results? What have the rewards been thus far?
Be a good leader, be a good husband.
No, but what have the rewards been thus far? You're not a husband right now.
No. I've been losing weight.
How much?
I lost 65 pounds.
Right.
I have my own apartment.
What? What's the other
I have my own apartment.
Have your own place?
Yes.
Yeah, what else?
I had a raise the first week of my job.
Well, you got a job first, right?
Yes. Yes.
Best job you ever had, right?
Yes.
And you got a raise first
I
week.
also have 2 mentors.
You have 2 mentors.
The chairman of the department and the coordinator of the department.
Right. You haven't gotten fired yet.
Nope. They've also promoted me in leadership position.
They like you there, right?
Yes, they like me there.
Right.
Yes. They also want me to
That's
go
different, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're not trying to get rid of you, are
No, they're trying to support me.
they? Right. Why is that?
Because they see value in me.
Right. Why is that?
I have confidence.
Right. Why is that?
I have confidence.
Why is that?
I have confidence.
Why do you have confidence?
I believe in God.
Right. Because you could take some heat now for first time in your life. Right.
Yes.
Because you know that heat doesn't come from somebody who hates you. Because heat can come from somebody who loves you, right?
Yes.
Put that mic in front of your mouth. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Heat can come from love, right?
Yes.
Doesn't have to come from an enemy, right?
Yes.
Right?
Hmm?
So we're making some progress. How much more weight are we going to lose?
Another 25 pounds.
At least, right?
Yes, I joined the gym on Friday.
What else are you going to do? You're going to buy a bike, right?
I'm going to buy a bike in March.
Right? Have you shopped already for that bike?
I'm looking online for Amazon, so.
Right, okay. So you're making progress, right? You're going
Yes.
to take a class come this fall? You're going to do all that?
Yes. I applied for New Jersey City University for the certificate program in bilingual cultural education.
Don't mumble.
For the bilingual cultural education program. So.
Okay. Right. All right. You're doing good. Good job, Luis. See, when you get healed, like Luis is getting healed, testifying is important. It's absolutely essential that you get up and you testify. You have to give God glory. You have to testify. You have to, because it draws people to that place. But it also speaks to what I was talking about this morning, which is the confidence of Shakur. Follow this instruction. Go sit behind Kim.
Yes, sir.
Thanks. All right. The three prongs are the promise, the courage, and the daily regimen. What that means is your habits of your day. The courage comes from the decisions that you make. The courage is actually that the spirit, the courage, but it comes out of that daily regimen and the promise. But that courage is something that you live with every day. You got to make sure it's there. So those are the three things. The courage is that spark too, right? So those are the three prongs that you can sit on. You got to know. You got to check on those things all day long. But here's what's going on with what we're working with him. What we're working with Luis. Luis is our he's our man right now. He's a good example of growth. We've got good growth in Nathan right now. Nathan's got some good things going on in his life. Erica's got some good things going on in her life. Rachel's got some good things going on in her life. But I got to see some consistency.
Yes.
Because you don't want what we call early harvests.
Right.
You don't want one victory and have that be your only victory. What you want to have is a life of fruit. And this is not all God has for Luis. So not all that God has for Nathan is just getting an internship. Great victory. Got it right away. Good thing. He's here now. It's important that he's here now, but there's more to come. Right? And always what we want is we want to be the best example we can be of following Jesus that we can possibly be. We don't want to just be a one victory testimony. We want to be not only a testimony of ourselves, but we want to have fruit. Right? We want to bear fruit over and over and over again, not only in our own lives, but in the lives of everyone we touch. Does that make sense? Erica's ministering to Shakur now, right? One of the things Shakur's not used to, don't raise your hand. Shakur's not used to following instructions yet. But he's learning. So I'm going to give him a lot. And he'll learn. He'll learn. And he'll learn how important that is for his success in life. And he'll also learn that it's the highest form of respect when a man gives him instructions. Or a woman. Right? It's not just a man who gives instructions. He's being mentored or served by Erica. And when Erica gives him an instruction, he'll say, yes, sir. When Matt gives him an instruction here in church, he'll say, yes, sir. Because it's a high form of respect. And it's a high form of respect to follow an instruction. Right? Funny, I'll tell you a quick funny story. It'll only take about 20 seconds. But just this past week, we've had a lot of snow. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Over the last couple of months, right? Well, I have a 160-year-old house. And my wife just mentioned to me, you need to get out on that roof and shovel it off. Well, I grew up in Minnesota. You don't shovel roofs in Minnesota. Nobody does that. But in Minnesota, they build roofs right. So, I've always teased that the voice of the Holy Spirit and my wife's voice sound a lot alike. So I actually went out and shoveled my roof. And then somebody sent me and I actually was kind of teasing on Facebook about it. And a lot of people were like, don't go on the roof, you're gonna get hurt and all that. But I shoveled my roof off. After I worked out, after I shoveled my driveway, after I did a bunch of stuff, I'm out shoveling, and I got a big roof. I mean, it's at least the size of a driveway. And there's like side, another side, back, and then I got a flat roof on the top. I got an old house, it's a big thing. So plus a roof is slanted a little bit, so I'm out there basically like dancing the whole time because your feet are like kind of moving while you're shoveling. It's not like your feet are on solid ground. So I was pretty sore when I was done, but I'll tell you what, next thing I know, somebody's sending me a newspaper article showing me houses that had completely crumbled in from the weight of the snow. Because once the snow begins to take on moisture and get wet, it gets heavy. And I, frankly, got out there and shoveled it while it was light. Because I was shoveling when it was still powdered area. There was a whole layer that was still heavy that I cracked down through and shoveled it off, which I was smart to do, but it was hard work. And I don't know, but my triceps have been sore for 2 days. I've never had sore triceps like that in my life, but it was good. But the voice of the but following instructions is what I'm saying, Shakur. Even I follow instructions. Something comes to me, even if you said something to me, I would take it to heart, and if it wasn't totally off the wall, I would say, is that from God? Any of you? Is that from God? I would not say it and just blow it off. I would think first, maybe God's trying to tell me something. You know, Annie's saying, even though I'd already worked out that day, even though it doesn't, you know, nobody shovels snow off their roofs in Minnesota. There's a lot more snow. Nobody does that. Somehow I heard in my spirit, and I got out on that roof and shoveled it off. And I believe had I not done that, I'd be fixing a roof, or Mac would be, and I'd be, you know. Right? Amen? Now watch this now. Is Jesus under great duress. The Jews are seeking to kill him because he not only broke the Sabbath, verse 18, but also said that God was his Father, making himself equal with God. See, when you say God is your Father, do you realize what you're saying? That's crazy, right? Are we supposed to say our Father? Which art in heaven? Doesn't Jesus teach us to pray like that? That's blasphemy, you know, to the Jew. Then Jesus answered and said to them, of a truth, most assuredly, I say to you, the Son can do nothing of himself. Now this is very important because what you're doing by coming to Deeper Life, by participating in Deeper Life, you're becoming part of a community. And I can't emphasize this enough. Become part of the community. Follow the instructions completely. What'd you do to your arm, baby? Did you hit Nathan? How'd you do it? All right, we'll talk about it later. All right. She's out shoveling. Nathan, you let your sister shovel at your house? It's all right. Just kidding. Most assured, that's what my wife says all the time. She goes, I'm not going out there. Your daughter's not going out there. Big, sturdy guy like you, nobody's shoveling around here. It's all good. The Son can do nothing of himself, but what he sees the Father do. But whatever he does, the Son also does in like manner. Now here's a key verse. For the Father loves the Son and shows him all things that he himself does, and he will show him greater works than these, that you may marvel. For as the Father raises the dead and gives life to them, even so the Son gives life to whom he will. For the Father judges no one, but has committed all judgment to the Son, that all should honor the Son just as they honor the Father. He who does not honor the Son does not honor the Father who sent him. Now that's powerful stuff, because the Son, Yeshua, that word judge, always cross it out, or not just cross it out so you forget the concept of judgment, but cross it out so that you can kind of like make a numerator-denominator thing there. Judgment, measurement. So the Son is not judging in the sense of condemning. He's judging in the sense of doling out gifts, doling out help, doling out. Doling means to give out, measure out to people what people need. Measuring, but also checking on people. To judge someone is to check, right? To check somebody's work, to test somebody. I mean, people say that God doesn't test you. He does test us in a sense, because He's not tempting you with sin, but He does test you in the sense that He asks you to do something, and if you don't do it, then He can't use you. So is that a test or no? He's not going to punish you if you don't pass the test. He's just not going to reward you. Not getting the reward, is that a punishment? No, maybe it's not. It's not really a punishment. The idea of if you do what I ask you to do, I will buy you a car. If you don't do what I ask you to do, you can stay in your room. I'm not going to spank you, but you don't get a car. All right, that's kind of a but what if the punishment was, I will bless you. I'm not going to tell you what the blessing is, but beyond your imagination. Or I won't. That's really what happens to us. I will protect you, or I won't. Because that's what happens to us. See, all these promises they're amazing promises. He will show you what you're capable of, or He won't. That's what Jesus is talking about. The Father can raise the dead. He goes to the extreme of raising the dead. He'll show you all these amazing things that you're capable of. But part of what's going on here, what Jesus is saying, I am the Son. But what Jesus was, Jesus lowered Himself really to become our brother, so that we would honor each other as brothers, so that we could come to love one another, the two great commandments, love God and then love each other, and then love each other as we love the Lord. It's hard to hear Jesus directly. And it's hard to love God if we don't love people. And so the only real way that we can know that we love God is if we love people. And the only way that we can love people is if we love people even when we don't like them. I mean, my mother used to say that to me almost every day. I love you, Danny, but I don't like you that much. I mean, every day she'd say, you're a smart aleck, you're sarcastic, you make fun of me every day. I love you, Danny, but I don't like you that much. She adored me, I have to tell the truth. She's to this day, she thinks I'm funny. But she gets all my jokes, which is kind of scary. So. But I think many of you know exactly what I'm talking about. To love people that you don't like, to love people that don't like you, to refuse to be offended, to serve people. This is why you're supposed to go to church. I mean, how many people stop going to church because somebody pissed you off? You're supposed to go to church because people piss you off. It's the truth. You go to church because you're going to be offended when you go to church. You go to church because it's part of what working on your salvation's about, what it is to be a believer. See, you got to make sure you're saved. To have courage, to have the daily regimen means it has to be tested. and it has to be applied. And that's why fellowship is absolutely important. Because you can't do it in a cocoon, and you don't really get to do it the way you think. You don't really get to self-medicate, self-train. God kind of picks the trainers. And he puts people up front like me, not because I'm the smartest, not because I'm the nicest or the meanest, because I'm neither of those. I'm not the nicest and I'm not the meanest. Well, you know what I am? I'm consistent. I'm resilient and I show up. True that. Right, Kim? Oops, I'm here again today. And you guys are pretty much that way too, a lot of you. And that's why he chooses us. Who's going to show up? Showing up is huge. It's a big part of it. If you'll show up, he can use you. That's huge. Just show up and he'll train you. Show up and he'll remake you. Show up, he'll transform you. Show up and he will equip you. It's powerful. For the Father loves the Son, for as the Father raises the dead, for the Father judges no one, that all should honor the Son. Most assuredly, verse 21, he who hears my word and believes in him who sent me has everlasting life and shall not come into judgment, but has passed from death into life. Now that's where it takes believing. Say, I've passed from death to life. Now it takes courage to believe that. When my personal trainer, he trains me, and when he gets inspired when I train, like he puts the rowing machine up to 10, and he goes, wreck this machine. I want to see you go as hard as you can. Stay with me, brother. You've been here a long time. I know that. Okay? You have to stand up, stand up. Okay? But the idea is, I want you to go as hard as you can, and you get that thing going. And when you get on a rowing machine, usually they'll tell you to pace yourself. Go do a 2-minute pace or whatever it is. I don't know how long it is. But I'll get that thing going, and when I'm pulling on that thing, I'm pretty strong in my legs. I'll start pulling the front of that rowing machine off the ground. So that thing's like a bucking bronco when I get that thing going. So I go all the way in with my legs, because I know you use your legs more than you use your arms. So I'll go as far in my legs and I'll yank on that thing. That thing will come about this far off the ground. So everybody in the gym is watching me while I'm doing this. And every time I'm done doing that thing, 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, that thing is bang, bang, bang. He just goes, I got the goosebumps, he says. You inspired me again. Nice. And I always tell him, that's the Holy Ghost. He goes, I don't know, but I'm inspired. He goes, because he's not a believer yet, right? And whatever it is, because as I get stronger now, he'll go, give me 50 deep knee bends, give me 40 jumping jacks, give me 30 burpees, give me 20 push-ups, and give me 10 leg raises. So I'll do all that, and I'll finish. He'll go, you didn't take any breaks in between. I said, good, what else we got to do? He goes, I got the goosebumps. See, we can do all things through Christ that strengthens us, but as you get stronger, there's more that you can do. See? And this is something that once you start to see what the Father can do, He's going to start to show you more. But if you don't do what He tells you to do today, He can't show you more. Am I right or am I wrong? See, this is... Truck and I were riffing on this the other day, a couple of weeks ago. Over the years, I've known a lot of Christians. I've been saved since 1984, the second time I got saved. I got saved in 1978 the first time. And I was probably saved as a kid in Catholic, maybe even before the first time. Because I always loved God. Always in church. Always writing in my journal about God. But I just didn't know what born again was when I was a Catholic. They don't use that term that much. But I went to church all the time. Went to confession, sang in church all the time, prayed a lot. Always loving God. And as you spend a lot of time with God, and as you guys begin to spend more and more time with God, you're going to get a lot more out of what you're doing here. You're going to get more of a hunger for other people to catch this hunger. See, I'm falling in love with you guys more and more. I love the changes in Gloria. I see it all over Leroy now. Why is that funny? No, it's good. But I see Kim is now becoming more vocal with her voice. She's writing more now. She's understanding the reasons why I asked for this. You know? Every one of you has to develop your voice this year in some way. Give me something. So Tarak and I were talking about the fact that you don't want to ever limit God. When you pursue God, you can't pursue an answer. What does that mean? Because if you get an answer, you think you're done. What does that mean? It means, Lord, show me the answer. Because an answer is a destination, and an answer is a finished product. An answer is, and I'm going to tell you, there's no such thing as an answer in God. God is infinite. God has no boundaries, no finite limitations. And no offense, neither do you. So it's not just that you go from question to question. You just go from marvel to marvel. From awesome to more awesome. From exploit to exploit. From beautiful to more beautiful. From, it's just not outside your, God gives you certain, as humans we have limitations. There's no doubt about it. I was talking to Tabra a little bit earlier today, and Tabra when he's around his brother wants to talk smack. He does. When he's around me. And I tell him it's okay to talk smack. I want to hear you that you got a little bit of swag, got a little confidence. But I also want you to hear that, I want to hear that you know where your limitations are. You know where your weaknesses are. So we can help you. It's time for you to allow us to help you, Tabra. And he was opening up to us a little bit today. It was good. I said, hey, it's time for you to join Deeper Life so we can begin to help you. And he was cool with that. And of course, just a suggestion. It's got to be his idea, right? So soon, hopefully soon, he'll come around to it. And we'll start to help him with it. And it'll be good for him. It'll be good for us, too. It'll be nice. But the idea is, we really don't have the limitations that we think. And when I get up there with Taraka and Glavko, Michael and Billy, but mainly Taraka and Glavko, because we and Kim, and we get up there and we minister in music. They don't allow much limitations. I'm going for it. And there's notes I go for I should never go for. But I do it on purpose. I don't do it because if I hear it, I'm going for it. And it's because I want to worship the Lord without any fear. I want something new all the time. I'm trying not to do it to please you. If he's shown it to me, right? The scripture says, what the Father shows me, I'm supposed to do. And so it's a safe place to practice. Right? I'm a baritone, right? I have a low voice, right? So sometimes I'll hear sounds that are really low. So sometimes I'll go for really low sounds. Sometimes I'll hear sounds that I don't know how high they are. So I'll just try to sing them. Now, I'll be honest, the higher ones, I'll back off that microphone because I know when I sing high notes, they could hurt you. So I'll back off because sometimes I won't necessarily go into my head voice, which is like a falsetto, like a ooh sound. I'll sing them full voice. But the Lord, because of it, He has given me range that people with my voice don't have. Like I've sung high C's with my voice type. That's like crazy. And the only reason I have it is because I haven't allowed myself to limit myself. And what I was working with Luis before was I prepared. You have to know how to stand up. You have to know where to place your head. It's not just the courage that gets you there, it's the preparation that gets you there. It's the daily regimen that gets you. But it's not only the courage, and it's not only the preparation, it's the promise. He said you could. So you can. So I'm using the voice, but I'm telling you, there's desires in your heart. See, I want to praise them. You may want to do something else. You may want to give, or you may want to mentor children, or you may want to, whatever it is that you want to do with your life. But I'm telling you, there's going to be a courage, there's going to be a risk. There's going to be an extension of your breath, an extension of your spirit, an extension of your courage, that you're going to have to find a place to practice it. Because it won't be perfect the first time you try it. And it won't happen on the first day. It won't be fruit the first time you do it. You're going to have to do it and 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 do it. And then you'll have fruit. I mean, you plant a seed, fruit isn't there that first day. That seed is a seed until it's a shoot under the ground, until it breaks the ground. And some seeds don't even bear fruit for seasons. And you got to keeping on. Trying and doing and working that daily regimen, keeping your courage up and continuing in that place. But you got to give voice every day. Does that make sense? And that's what the tools are in Deeper Life. 5 acts of kindness every month. Reading in rhythm on a regular basis. What's my fruit of the Spirit today? Today I'm going to work on peace. Oh, maybe today I'll work on gentleness, self-control. Maybe I'll meditate one of the letters today in addition. One of the 12 fruits of the Spirit. Or the 12, not 12 fruits of the Spirit, one of the 12 simple thoughts. Okay, what are the 5 questions? All these things every one of you should, when I say 5 questions, you should know all 5. Right, what would you do if you knew you wouldn't fail? What's your next doable step? What's standing in your way? What are you thankful for? What would a miracle look like? 9 fruits. By now, these tools should become second nature. Sunday night meeting, planning your week, money and time. Right? Tablecloth meeting, working out your full budget. Prioritization. Not only for yourself, but able to do it for somebody else. Right? Having those tools available to you at all times. Being able to really visualize why we're doing this. Because if these acts of kindness are being done on a regular basis, we should be able to bridge the gap. This becomes our language. We don't need welfare anymore if we do this right. The red letters. Internalizing red letters. Understanding the spoken word. And I'm going to close up, and then we're going to give people some chances to speak here. But the idea of loving one another, the idea of loving God, the idea of loving not the world, the blessing that God wants to bring to us, I'm laughing at myself because I think of the writings that the early founders of our nation, they used to write in clauses that were like 15 clauses in one period. You know, they'd have sentences that we would call run-on sentences today, and now the writing is, you know, you see me, period. You know, if you correct a young child and you say, you know, that's not a word. Oh, yes, it is. R-O-F-L-M-A-O. You know, of course, that's a word. You don't know what it means? B-R-B. You know, everybody knows what it is. S-M-H. Yeah. Some of you older folks don't know what I'm talking about. But they don't. B-R-B means be right back. S-M-H means shaking my head. R-O-F-L-M-A-O is rolling on the floor, laughing my ass off. Just letting you know. I'm in the know. Boy, oh boy. Aren't I well educated? It's amazing, right? You know, and then the symbols they have. I mean, they have some symbols in there. Some of their symbols are none of your business. No. It's just ridiculous. But it's we're losing the ability to communicate because we're more in love with the technology than we are with each other. And we have got to kick against the pricks in our generation. And we've got to recognize it. And it's hard because I find, Taraka was saying this earlier, he was saying, you know, Taraka's 31. He's saying he's starting to recognize that there's 2 or 3 generations younger than him because of the technology now. And it's almost like there's communication gaps in those generations. You know, there's his generation, then there's like the Instagram generation, and then there's Instagram is all pictures. It's like almost no words. It's like, well, you don't know what I mean? I sent you a flower with a beaver eating a snail, you know. You didn't get it? No, frankly, I didn't get it. Didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Now, I find myself today, when I'm speaking, stopping to define words more than ever. I use a word like dole, and I'll stop and define it. You know, it's important that we communicate with each other, but it's also important that we can move forward. And we don't always have to stop to define everything. That we move forward. And that we can really begin to get into more complex things. That everything doesn't have to be so simple all the time. Simple's not bad, but simple's not always good. You know, we want things that are layered at times. We want things that are, you know, a little nicer than boring. We want things that are fancier, if you will. You know, a little more artistic. Took a little more time to build, or a little more time to make. You know? a nice recipe or a nice piece of china or a great piece of music. Something that took a great piece of poetry, something that took a little more time, something with a little more nuance in it. And we want everybody to be able to participate. Right? I hope. That's the beauty of the multiculturalism, the beauty of the ethnicity, the diversity in this room is that it requires us to work a little harder to communicate, but we don't want to dumb it down either. Lowest common denominator, we want to all participate. Everybody have voice, right? Not just the white guy in the front of the room. We want everybody participating. So I think we're making progress as we move towards our conferences this summer. Our conference this summer. And our conference in the fall. I want to make 2 mental notes and then we're going to open this up. And we're going to work along the tools and work along the 3 people that you're serving. And we are going to begin to really get you more active, hopefully. And hopefully the activity will make you happier. That's what we really want. So June 5th through June 7th is on the thing, but it's really June 5th through June 8th, because June 8th is that Sunday. Might be June 6th through June 8th. Right? And then it's October, I think it's 10th through the 12th in the fall. But there's a couple really cool things that are happening this year. I think April 15th and October 12th this year, there are 2 eclipses that are taking place that I want you to make note of. They're called blood moons. This hasn't happened since 1967 when Israel had their war, and in 1949, right after they became a nation, and then before that it didn't happen. It happened in 1493, right after Columbus discovered America, but also right at the beginning of the Spanish Inquisition when the Jews were really persecuted during that time. Not only the Jews, but a lot of Christians at that time were persecuted by the Catholic Church at that time, which launched Martin Luther and others. So these blood moons that are hitting, there's going to be 7 of them. The first 2 are this year, and then there's going to be some more next year. I think there's 7, might be, not sure. I think there are 7. There's some next year too. There might only be 5 now that I think of it. But they'll be on, the 15th is like during the holidays, because we're celebrating Easter on the 20th. So the 15th is right in the middle of Passover there. The 12th is right on Feast of Tabernacles. And then next year there's one in March, which is coming up into the holidays. That next year the holidays again, and that's going to be a solar eclipse in 2015. So there's something happening. There is a God, you know. And his calendar is not the secular calendar that we go on. So we need to be about our basics. So learning your tool book, you need to keep your tool book handy, reading in rhythm, all the things that we're doing. Just do it as part of your daily course. You don't have to do it like an obligation. Just try to do it just as an obedience. You don't have to read it all, but try to read it. Get it to the place where it's something you'd rather do than watch TV. One of the things I'm going to start doing in addition to what I've put in the tool book thus far is I'm going to add a fast day a week. Just for me. I'm not telling you have to do it, but I'm going to pick up my own walk. 1 day a week, water only. And I don't know which day I'm going to do yet, but this was part of our discipleship years ago. And I'm going to add it for myself. And if anybody wants to join me again, you're welcome to do it with us. But I think it's an important thing, especially in light of the blood moons, everything going on. What happens when you fast is you hear the voice better. And I need to hear the voice better. It's not about losing weight, even though you might. But that's not why you do it. It's just another way of saying no. It's the same reason you tithe. I don't trust food to sustain me. I trust God. It's like, and I don't trust my money to sustain me. I trust God. So does that make sense? All right, I hit on a lot of points. Get your tool book out. Become more and more familiar with them. We started something cool recently called Potter's Wheel. You're all welcome to join us. We also started something cool where we allow people on the call to join us. Potter's Wheel meets on Wednesdays at 5 and Sundays at 9, but you got to have a quorum, and somebody's got to start getting that quorum together, or I don't show up. And that simply means somebody's got to pull that together before Saturday night or before Wednesday at 3 o'clock if you want me there. So it's just simply make that happen, and I'll show up. And because it's really a great class, because it gets people into more discipline. What I'm trying to do is let everybody know I could teach more often. I could be a gift to you more often. You got to put a demand on me. Time is getting shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. I'm a pretty well-trained and well-oiled machine. I don't get tired. I could teach as much as you could take it. There's more in here than I give out every week. But I often feel like I'm teaching too long and people are getting too much and like I'm putting you out. I could teach all weekend. But I don't want to wear out my best people either. But at the same time, put a demand and I'll show up. Disrespect me, I won't show up. If you say, Dan, show up, and you don't show up, I'm not showing up again. That's just not right. I'm not doing that. So it's not fair to me or my wife or anybody else. So that's just that. So here we are. I want to hear your voice. I want to hear, when you come up today, here's what I want to hear, because I'm going to sit over here, I'm going to draw the tree while you come up. I want you, when you first start, I want you to be able to describe what the vine looks like from your perspective. Who you're serving, who's serving you, as far as you can see the vine, and then I want you to talk about whatever you want to talk about from that perspective. And I'm going to draw, to the best of my ability, the vine by the end of the day, because I like to see it. Now what you're doing, what that does for me, believe it or not, is it brings me amazing encouragement. I love to hear the testimonies. So I'm just being selfish. Does that make sense? You think, God likes to hear your praise. Do you know that? He's not being selfish, but maybe he is. But he needs to hear. See, it's not really selfish for me, because you need to praise. And I need a pen. And thank you. Thank you for preempting my need. All right. Who wants to start? Go ahead. Well, Gloria's up, but come on up. Rosa, grab the mic, and then Gloria can go. And then I want everybody on the wall. Get on the wall, because I want this to go seamlessly. Gloria, come on up. And just line up, because I don't want any delays in between, because we don't have a lot of time. So just when Rosa's done, then the next person goes, then the next person goes, then the next person goes, and the next. No delays. Make it seamless.
Good afternoon, Faith Exchange. Okay, what the vine looks like from my perspective. Taraka serves me, as far as I know. I serve Marjorie, I serve Kim, and I serve Evelyn. Evelyn allows me to call her and talk to her, and then she lets me know that, yeah, that's good. We're nurses, we get to do our thing. Kimberlyn Lee has returned to school. She's finishing up what she's doing with court reporting, and she's back in Chinatown with her dad. I'm going to focus a little bit on Marjorie today, because she's my best disciple. She's been my disciple for 24 years. She's been Pastor Dan's disciple for 16 and a half years. Marjorie is working in Washington, D.C. She found herself an apartment. She writes, she's an editorial assistant for the American Conservative. She is finding her strength in her written voice now. She's really, really developed. You can always go out to their website to see what she's writing about. And that's in the natural. She got into her master's program. She is going to be returning to China, and she will be a full university professor at the university in the Yunnan province. And she will be working on her thesis, and her goal is to write her master's thesis in Chinese. That's in the natural. We have been disciples under Pastor Dan for 16 and a half years. She was one of his youngest disciples, and her question always used to be, why are people trying to take me from Pastor Dan when they tried to get her in children's church? One of the most rewarding parts of my existence as her mom is that when I talk to her, she sounds like Pastor Dan. You know, she does not understand why people don't work. She doesn't understand why people are entitled and privileged, feel privileged when they don't work hard. She looks for God in all things. She's had a lot of challenges with her emotional part of her life. And she decided that the fight against that emotional part of her life is what was coming after her. So she decided that she wasn't going to touch the evil in the world, because then she'd have to engage. So she's doing really, really well. What would I do if I knew I couldn't fail? I would go back to school and learn how to be a manager in the culinary world. And I'm going to do that on March 17th. I go 3 nights a week to the Institute of Culinary Education. And my next doable step is coming up with 10% of the tuition, which I get to give them in a few days. So in 9 months, I'll have a certificate in culinary education, and I will be launching my business from there, because then I'll have my corporation set up, I'll have my master menu priced out, and I will have done enough we do it, it's based on cases. So you review cases and you say, well, okay, if you've got this menu and you've got this thing to do, how do you price it out? How do you get all this done? So that's my next doable step. In the interim, one of the challenges I have is that I work in a company that's financially unstable. So they can be unstable, but I've got favor. And they're laying people off every week. So by default, I get to stay because there's nobody left that speaks Spanish. So, you know, like I get on my surfboard every day. My car can't get moved, because if I move my car, I can't park her at night because nobody wants to dig out their car. I mean, I dig out my car. I don't dislocate my shoulder. Sorry, sister. But, you know, I had to dig out my car, you know, but I got 4-wheel drive, so it's not too bad. But in the evening, I don't know if I'm going to be able to park when I come home. So that means I have to get up an hour earlier to get to work. So what I decided to do was, since I have to get up an hour earlier, I get to plug into the prayer call. So I'm at my desk at 7:30, and while everyone's on their Samsung Galaxies and whatever, any Android things there, listening to God knows what, I get to listen to Sister Gloria pray the word from a point of victory. I get to listen to Kim pray the word from a point of victory. And, you know, people come in there with their half-hearted good mornings, and I don't have to listen to them, because I get to listen to full-hearted, glory to God, testimonies, what were we going to do today kind of things, okay? So you may only preach, Pastor Dan, X number of hours a week, and I was trying to tell you earlier today, that doesn't include drive time. So when I'm driving, I'm listening to, you know, the steps and the questions, and, you know, you just listen. You just stay plugged in. Challenges come, and they get met, just like our needs do, you know, because it's the same thing. So just staying really, really close to the basics is what makes the difference. You know, I have to kind of hide out at work, because that's the kind of place it is, you know. I found it really interesting. Like, you know, everybody knows everything, you know, nobody really cares about what I know, who I am, where I've been, you know. I mean, I work with a lot of Jamaican people, because I work in the Bronx, and they like to have parties a lot to celebrate all kind of things. and they talk about, wanting to make, what dish you want to bring, and they tell me things like, I said, well, I'll be glad to bring some jerk chicken, because I can jerk some chicken, right? And they tell me things like, I don't want your jerk chicken. And I say, yeah, but I know Walkers would. And they tell me, they're very surprised that I know Walkers would. It's like, you don't jerk a chicken if you don't got Walkers would. I mean, you just don't. So that's, they're getting like a little peek. And then I forgot that I had this sweatshirt. I mean, I wore it because it's a cool sweatshirt, man. And you wear your Yale sweatshirts like he wears his Columbia sweatshirts, like I wear my Wesleyan sweatshirts. And I showed up at work on Friday because it's dress down day. And the same woman who wouldn't want to eat my jerk chicken asked me if I went to Wesleyan. And I said, yeah, I did. She goes, whoa, I'm very impressed. And I thought to myself, why? This is not a scripture. I mean, this is not a scripture. This is just the testimony of the goodness of God in my life. I mean, this is what it is, I mean, when people see me kind of getting in my car at the end of the day, they tell me, man, Rosa, you drive large. I said, well, it's just the testimony of the goodness of God in my life. And that's what these things represent. So, when I talk about Marjorie and I talk about the kind of things I'm doing, they're testimonies of the goodness of God in my life and what being part of this community is, and and staying connected. And even if it's like Yahweh invisible, He's invisible, but he likes being invisible. That's kind of how He likes to hang out. And because we're human, He gives us Yahushua in the flesh, because that's how we connect. So sometimes I get a little invisible because I need a minute, and that's my process. But I never disconnect, because I'm like the 12 that was still there after the 72 left. And they ask him, he looks at them, he goes, so you want to leave too? And then I got to tell him, where am I going to go? You got the words of life. Where am I going to go? You got the words of life. I mean, where? I mean, where? The words of life. The truth. We talked about it today, right? Where am I going to go? You got the words of life. And, I had this conversation with Pastor Dan not too long ago, and I told him basically, I said, this is when, we fight for this relationship in spite of everything, because it's one of the most important relationships I have in my life, is my pastor. And I don't know about y'all, but 16 and a half years, you got to think about it. It makes you blink. It makes you blink. You got to think hard and fast about it. Because I remember one day telling Pastor Dan, I'm going to be with you till the wheels roll off. And he says, the wheels ain't going to roll off. So I guess I'm stuck. But it's the best kind of stuck to be. So thanks for your prayers. Thanks for your faithfulness towards me and your love towards me. There's nothing better than coming back into Faith Exchange on a cold morning and sitting in the middle of the congregation and having everyone come to you with all the hugs and all the kisses. It's wonderful. My cell phone number hasn't changed.
Amen.
The address hasn't changed. The love hasn't changed. My joy hasn't changed. I'm still jolly. Nice and round and jolly, the jolly caterer, kind of thing. And that's kind of where I am. I mean, I've been working these principles from before the discipleship program, before there was a discipleship program. I mean, I keep on, I work in this little, this tiny little, I've never worked in, I never worked in a space like this. I mean, I think my sandbox was better when I was in kindergarten, And I keep my Hebrew letters up. And people ask me if I read Hebrew. I says, no, I live Hebrew. I've crossed over. And my favorite letter, me, I'm a Vav. I'm a connector. I'm a Vav. And I keep there because it's man and it's God and we're connected. And I keep my little notes up there. I keep my texts from Pastor Dan. I have a few favorites that I keep up in various places, as well as, in my phone. And it's a good day. It's a good day to be a creator, made in the image and likeness of my dad. It's a good day to see your faces. It's a good day to wake up and to say, good morning, Yeshua. Good morning, Yahweh. What's the plan? Let's roll. You know, it's a good day. One of the things that he's allowed me to do, I know I'm being lengthy, but, you know, I got the love on me. What can I tell you? You know, it's been a good day to be able to sit in my apartment and put my words on a breath and with my courage, because I'm not afraid to believe. I'm not afraid to believe. I'm not afraid to step out, and I'm not afraid to give breath to the things that His Spirit has bubbling up inside me. And I sing a new song, and I sing a strong song, and I sing, you know, His words, you know, just out there, just really, really out there. And I thought to myself, I said, you know, too long you've been whispering your prayers, and too long you've been whispering His words and His songs. Because I always sang in the shower, but I didn't always sing in my living room because I was kind of like feeling a little self-conscious about my neighbors hearing me. But then I decided that because my neighbor likes to play Pink Floyd, that I could certainly, man, I got something on Pink Floyd. I got some Pink Floyd for you, man. I got the blood. We're gonna do some Red Jesus up in here. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, stay encouraged. Create. You know, refuse to go towards that negative bend. You know, when you have to know that when you raise your children in the way they're going to go, and I'm one of his kids. I'm one of his older kids. So he expects me to keep a track on the older ones, but sometimes I get wowed out. You know, so he gives me a minute because he's gracious. He's my pastor. You know, but when you start to hear your kids, and he talks about this all the time, when he hears Danielle sound like him, that's why he wants to hear us. He wants to hear what we're thinking, what we're doing. Because I know if I try to reach out to him and I can't connect, he needs to hear my voice somehow, so I got to go down the road. Well, I didn't get a text, I didn't get an email, I'm not getting a phone call. Looks like it's going to be the master class up in here. So we're going to do master class talking, connecting, okay? Because that's a way to do it, right? He wants to hear me. He's not interested in me coming to see him to tell me something. He wants to hear what I'm doing. He wants to know what I'm reading. He wants to know who I'm listening to. He wants to know if I'm not going to write. He wants to know what's on my heart. So this is how we have to roll. So we're rolling. So anything you want to know, anything you need to do, I got lots of room for hugs and kisses today. I'm wearing my red. Happy Valentine's Day. Okay, and if you need a jerk chicken, right? If you need a jerk chicken, you know, just let me know, because we've added a few things to the repertoire since then. We got a few fruit crepes working with some dulce de leche, so that's always a good one. And I love you all very, very much. You're always in my prayers, but more importantly, I feel that I'm in yours. And I'm so grateful and I appreciate that. Praise the Lord. And did I wear Gloria out?
No, Gloria. No, there you go. Let's give Rosa a big hand clap there. Welcome back.
Here comes Gloria. Well,
let me take the lipstick off your head, because you don't need any more drink. We're just having a moment here.
yes.
Thanks for turning my mic off, Joe.
Yes. This evening I have two beautiful testimonies, but before I go to that, I want to share the people that are serving me and those that I'm serving. I'm excited about what Yahweh is doing in my life, in the deeper life. Andrea Patterson is serving me, and I am so blessed to have a woman like that in my life. She keeps me going, and I like it. Andrea serves Rachel Tricarico and Angela Burchett. I am serving Yvette Hickman in upstate New York, Barbara Terry in Virginia, and Leroy Bradford in Brooklyn. They are three strong, beautiful people. Yvette is full of the word, and she's always on the prayer call. And I have very little to put out because of the fact that she understands what we are doing and what we are asked to do. and she follows. Barbara Terry is the same. I love Barbara because Barbara is, she reminds me of, I used to live in Virginia, so we are able to communicate. She asks questions concerning the acts of kindness, or she would ask about the Hebrew language and, you know, different things. But following the basics, I insist on it, and she follows through. I've gotten all their goals, and I understand where they are going. I pray for them every day. My testimony is this. I received a call from a woman who I hadn't seen or heard of, because I never saw her. I haven't seen her yet. But in 7 years, this is how she found me. And this is what happened prior to that. I was talking to the Lord, and I said, Lord, you know, I really want to be available to people. I want people to enjoy you the way I am enjoying you. And I got this call. This lady came on the prayer call, and she said, Gloria, so-and-so is looking for you. I said, she says, can I give them your number? I said, I will talk with you after the call. So when I called her, she says, this woman called a man. She doesn't know the man, trying to find me. And the man knew this lady and asked the lady to call me. So I said, okay, I will give her a call. Do you know what it is she's looking for? She says, well, you call her. Let me tell you this. There are people hurting out there who needs us. And I say us because we are getting what is necessary to help them. She called me. When she called me, I said, how are you doing? Well, she started off with 2007. I said, listen, today is a new day for you. I don't want to hear about your past. I am taking you to the future. How can I serve you? And then she started to tell me how she can serve me. I said, but tell me how you want me to serve you, but don't go to the past. Stay in the future, because I'm taking you out of the ditch today, and you're going to sit on the sidewalk and stand up. And I talked to her about the deeper life, and she said, I needed you. I needed you because I lost all my friends, and I know that you would be the one to take me out of the mess I'm in. So she's now connected to the deeper life. She's willing to come on the call, Pastor Dan, and then she's also willing to, she couldn't get through the master class today, but she's willing to communicate. She had, with me on sending her the different tools and so on, and talking with her. And I am very happy to serve her, because before I left the phone with her, she was in such joy. I mean, that was not the woman that called me in the beginning. And I am so happy and I'm so excited that someone needed to hear this, because she does not go to church. I asked her, say, are you in church? She says, no, I can't go. The last church that she went to, the bishop and his entourage didn't have time for her. So I said, well, Pastor Dan doesn't have an entourage. Pastor Dan, we love him, and you come aboard and you will be loved. So she's with us now, Pastor Dan. My next testimony is this. 3 months ago, a gentleman that came to this church many years ago, he asked me to, if I would edit a book for him that he's beginning to write. So I said, okay, I will do it. And the reason why I said yes is because I like to say yes. Since I said yes to Yeshua, I will say yes to anything that is in line with Yeshua. And I know him, and he said, would you help me edit, would you edit this book for me? I'm writing it. So I started off in October, and truly, there were times when I got frustrated with the book, but I kept on editing and editing and editing. Well, I'm here to tell you that the book has been published, and I am acknowledged in the book.
Sorry. Sorry, Taraka. Hello, everybody.
because I have to go to work, I asked him his permission to come before him. I just thank God for all of you. I have 2 testimonies, but before I give my testimonies, I just, I'm saying Pastor Dan. Dr. Dan. Pastor Dan asked us to say who we're serving and who's serving us. Rosa is serving me, and I'm serving the closest. I have 6 people with me, but the closest one are Sheila, Marie, Janice. Then I have Debbie, I have Internet, and I have Grace. We haven't seen Grace for a while. We pray for her. I'm hearing that she's not feeling well, so we continue to pray for her. We try to reach out to her, but she's not reaching out back. But we continue to pray for her, whatever she is battling or going through, to go through it, you know, and come back. And the testimonies I have, I just wanna show the importance of being in the right church. I'm telling you, Pastor Dan, not that I want to just talk about him, but I'm talking about the anointing that God has on his life. He has, when he's talking about word, your words are anointed. His words are anointed. Because last time Pastor Dan prayed for me, he spoke about that God will deliver us from financial burden, and with the kids and their loans and everything. So we still have, even after the kids graduated, we still have pressure, financial pressure. And the same week after Pastor Dan prayed for me, both kids got a job. Rachel got a job, and Nathan got a job. So I just want to thank God for that. I wanted to tell Pastor Dan that. Praise Yahweh. Hallelujah. About 2 weeks ago, I fell in my job. I'm going to work in the prison now, but that same job, you know the devil sometimes like to aggravate you. I go with all the deeper life. I took it out of my binder and brought the whole thing to work and start reading it. And that same night I fell. I don't know how I ended up falling. I fell, and by the time I felt like around like 5 a.m. By the time it was like 8 a.m., I'm leaving the job. This hand swelled up so bad. So you know how the devil wants to attack you. Oh, why don't you stay home? Why don't you do this? I say, I'm going to church. I don't care how I am, I'm going to church. I know I'm going to get a blessing when I get to church. I press forward. It's good to press forward because there is blessing. So even with the pain and the swelling, I got dressed, I came to church. And when I came to church, usually God speaks to me in vision also, vision, dreams. When we were having the worship service, I saw Yeshua dressed as the high priest, with the breastplate that have the 12 stone, and he has the royal, how you call that, diadem, the kingly. Yeah, crown. I saw the whole thing. Even when I opened my eyes, I'm still seeing it. So I said, God, I don't know what does that mean, but I'm believing that even if nobody prayed for me, the fact that I came to church, that I'm obedient to come, I know I'm going to be healed. So I went, my hand was still hurting me and still swollen, and I had to go back to work at 3. My hand was hurting me so bad that when I got to work, somebody had to sign my name. I asked somebody else to sign my name for me. That's how bad it was. But I'm still believing that God will heal me. Do you know by 9 o'clock, everything left me. I have more movement in my hand, no more pain, no more swelling. I'm telling you, Yahweh, listen, when you stay obedient, there is blessings. That's when Pastor Dan was saying, do we get the punishment? Yes, you may not know. Listen, when you stay in the rut, when you stay in the dirt, that's your punishment. I want to be out of it. Just like Pastor Dan said, I want to live large. I want to be financially free. I want my family to be together and happy. I want to be healthy. I want all that. So yes, it is a punishment. That's why we need to stay strong. We need to press on because there's blessings. And without the blessing, it is a kind of punishment. I mean, that's the way I see it. May God bless you all. I got to go to work.
Amen.
I'm getting a hug. Watch it, Jill. Watch it, man. I heard that. Yeah, right up. Here you go, Jill. Go ahead. Sorry, baby, I love you. You had that louder, right, Mike? You made that there. Hallelujah. Well, there's I guess a couple very specific words that just came. Last time at the Deeper Life meeting, I think Holy Spirit was dealing with the concept of leave room, and it was something that was just a theme in my life at the time, like just leaving room for Yahweh to be Yahweh. And I love the continuity that happens when you just decide to show up and you decide to participate. And so the other thing that's pressing on me now is consistency, And I'm being served by Pastor Dan, and I am serving the lovely lady who just made an entrance into the room, my wife, Andrea, beautiful Patterson. Middle name beautiful for real. And and serving Glauco and Michael. And it is a joy to my heart to hear Rosa say that I am serving her as well. And I guess it's a part of the what I'm saying now. You never know how you're going to serve somebody. You never know. We're all equal. So it's not like multi-level marketing. Like, you're not my downline and all this. Like, we're connected to each other, and the concepts that we learn, when there's a period where the way that Rosa and I were working together was face-to-face meetings, talking over things, making lists, making stuff. Go ahead.
Don't go anywhere. This is like a delayed report, but I have to give it because it's really significant. When I had met Taraka, I had just gotten my license. I hadn't been driving that long. And one of the things we talked about, and Pastor Dan would give me like a crazy sideways look, and I would say, I really don't like to drive that much, and it's like my goal is to like drive it to New Jersey. Now, I live in Washington Heights. You can't get any closer to New Jersey than Washington Heights. It's like over the bridge. But like once you get into that thing where like exit 73 is, and then it's Route 4, and then it's the express, I'm like, I can't do that. So, Taraka, I wanted to tell you, I almost forgot, I drove Margie to D.C., straight, no bathroom breaks, nothing. And I drove back, but I got tired because God had told me you need to make a stop. So I stopped at exit 4 in New Jersey from D.C., and I had something to eat. I used the bathroom. I had something to drink. And God told me, he says, well, and Pastor Dan said, I said, won't be here next week because I have to go to D.C. He says, so then just come in for the Deeper Life class. So little does he know, like, I've got this GPS that's like screaming at me, and I'm like, okay. And I'm coming through the Holland Tunnel, right? And I'm like, ah! And it's like, then the next thing I know, I'm like on Canal Street, and the next thing I know, I'm on Leonard, and there was a space with like this much, and I parked it. I parked my car. Come on for the parkers. Come on now. There was like half an inch in the front and half an inch in the back, and it made me a little late. But I got here, and I'm sitting in the back saying, what a pit stop. What a pit stop. So one of the things I was believing for, we were working on. So now I can drive to D.C. and back.
Look at God. You too can park and drive. but consistency, man. It's a beautiful thing, if you just show up and you're willing to ultimately, engage the Holy Spirit. And this is something that Drea really does for me, in me serving her, and her serving me is she provides constant perspective. And one of the things she was talking about very recently was about how, she's made a resolution that she's going to serve the people she serves by becoming her best self. And she's going to serve the girls by being her best, And it was a legitimate paradigm shift where she was saying, like, I can't serve anybody. I don't have anything to give anybody of real value other than me tapping into my best self. And so I bring that up to say, like, hearing Rosa say that she is being served by me, and it's a beautiful thing because I followed an instruction from Pastor Dan in a moment where the dynamics of how I was serving were shifting, and the instruction was to just continue to press in on your personal pursuit of the Holy Spirit, and continue to be available. Let the love flow. And so you never know. Like for me, at times I didn't know if I was serving Rosa in my own head. I was like, I don't know for what I'm doing. I don't know. I don't feel like the same connection in a way where I can feel tangible service happening. But you just do what you're doing, and then you find out you are serving people, which is a blessing. A part of that, I was really blessed. Again, if you guys were on the call, you heard me at one point. I was saying how I get on myself sometimes about not having time for the people who are my three, quote unquote, or who are the people that I'm specifically serving. So I'm not getting a chance to kick it with Michael and Glauco as much because I don't live with them like I live with Drea, so I can serve her all the time. So, but it's amazing how Yahweh will just connect you in the moments that you have together when that's your heart's desire, and things become relevant. And it was a couple weeks ago when Michael was saying, he was up here speaking, and he was saying that he had made a decision that he was going to be the best Michael. That he couldn't be the next Miles. He wasn't going to be the next somebody else, but he was going to be the best Michael. And that has been ringing with me, man, like just constantly, and again, tying in, talk about continuity with what Drea was saying, how she had to be her best self in order to serve anybody. And the connection in itself creates this service where we're able to just be a support for one another. And it just really blessed me. Not only that, but Glauco, the other person who I'm serving, his willingness, he came out to an event that I invited him to that was with my band. That's my main band that we work a lot. That's anyhow. So he came out, we were doing a showcase, and I had invited him out because I wanted to introduce him into the fold, because this company does a lot of contracting of musicians and artists and for different events and things. And so I wanted to get him in the roster, as a keyboard player, and be able to just get him some work. And the event was it ended up being in the midst of a lot of craziness. I've been working on producing this video project for the company for a while that has been all types of just topsy-turvy and crazy. And that event in itself came up and had all these other elements. And so it was really like I was spread out at the event, but I got a chance to kick it with Glauco a bit at the beginning, but I wasn't able to just be like, hey man, let me come introduce you to this person, and everybody's available for me to just talk to at the moment. But he was just so open and there and just showed up, and he wasn't high maintenance in a moment where I didn't have any extra bandwidth for any more maintenance, and was able to connect with people, make some good solid connections, and I'm believing that he's going to get some good work out of that as well. Y'all mix your faith with me, because those opportunities will come up, but it's the way that he was able to just flow is another thing that's just been lingering with me in moments where I get spread out, and it's just like, just be here, just be present in this moment. And that will segue to the final part of this, which is, what we get to practice here, what we get to train to become train our spirits, through the basics that we work in Deeper Life, has such a far-reaching, it just reaches way further than any of us know. And I had a friend who if you've heard me, there have been different times I spoke about my friend who was my roommate in college. Yes, I did. Thank you. That's a good one. There we go. All right. Yeah. Roommate in college. And and for a period, this is one of my boys who we had this whole thing where apparently we were in a fight, but I didn't know it. And I was finding out from other people that he was like, oh yeah, Phil, there we go. I got the Pastor Annie on.
You mean You mean she?
She, yes, she, my friend, my Asian small little friend, roommate, you know.
Yeah, tiny person.
Tiny little. All right, anyhow. It's all good. Transparency.
Yeah.
You'll meet him soon enough anyway. So.
Might as well lay it all out now. Bro.
Yeah, here we go. Transparency.
Yeah, his phone number is.
This is the apple doesn't fall far from the vine.
Exactly. Sorry, I gave you the wrong DNA.
Thanks a lot.
My bad.
But anyhow, we had this whole thing where there was a period of time where, you know, I found out that we were in a fight. I didn't know it, and he had distanced himself, and it was really weird. Drea will tell you, you know, I was kind of just like a little bit blown away, like what, like really, and then find out at the time what it was being said that it was about, because we weren't talking, so I didn't really know what it was. I'm like, all right, and you know, at that moment, you know, I'm again under the teaching. I'm hearing Pastor Dan tell me, you know, all you can say to people sometimes is get to church, you know, and it's really good because it's a place where you know you're going to come and meet, and the Holy Spirit is setting the tone there, you know. It's like Rose is saying, I couldn't reach Pastor Dan this way, that way, this way, that way. Because of his consistency, she knew she could come and show up here, and that he was going to hear her right here, and that's a beautiful, powerful thing. So much in that same respect, I've been just carrying on, and my door has always been open for my boy to come back in and reconnect, and you know, and it happened, and we didn't have to have like this. It wasn't like let's have a conversation about what happened, and I didn't want to. It was like that was not, again, because this is how we're trained. I was just like, yeah, give me a hug, like, you know, I'm glad you're back in the mix, you know, and we're here and everything's good and whatnot. Let's go watch a game or something. Let's go catch up. And we over the course of the past month, we've had the opportunity to really connect in this powerful, powerful way. And now he's putting a demand on me, as he was going through a breakup with a girl who he had. It seemed like we thought he was getting serious because he was calling her his girlfriend, and if you knew me or my friends, we didn't call anybody girlfriend, so we didn't use those words. And the fact that he was doing that was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then he called me, he's like, man, we're breaking up. I had to let her go and all these things. And yesterday we're talking, literally, and talking about rhythm, man. He was texting me late last night after we came back from celebrating Rachel's birthday, and yeah, which I'll be sure to wish Rachel a happy birthday. She's 20 years old. And right, give or take 4 years. But he texted me and he's asking me, the girl had responded to an email or had emailed him, and he was like, I'm trying to do a clean break, man. And I was trying to, he's like, I don't know, should I respond to this email or not? And whatever. And I was like, whoa, was it confrontational? Like, what is it? What are you going to gain? What do you stand to gain from this or not? And we had this little kind of back and forth, but ultimately the Holy Spirit had me tell him like exactly what we were getting today in the Word. And it was really saying to him like, don't look at this as you breaking up with somebody. Don't look at this as you excluding her now from what you're doing. You are a grown man, and you don't need to be anybody's boyfriend. And what I was saying to him was not don't be in relationships, but I was saying you need to find your best you. You need to, and it's all about you getting your best you. So don't exclude her. Don't do that unless she's being toxic. If she's a toxic person for you, then you know you can create your distance. But come at it with this fresh perspective of allowing yourself to engage your best and have your best available, so that way you're constantly going to be moving forward, and it doesn't matter what she does, and you don't have to text me at 1 a.m. and be like, should I respond to an email or something like that, you know, because you have that answer. Just do what is productive for you, and that productivity is priceless, and that's what we're getting here. And all right, Holy Spirit said this. So this is really quick. when I spoke, when I taught a couple weeks ago, I asked everybody to believe in me for our friend who had just lost his mother. And I didn't get to share this then, but I had to share because it's such a powerful testimony. And his strength. This is somebody who he was very close with Drea and I, and I mean he's Uncle Kurt to the girls, and when we went over to his place to go and like just kind of be there for him in this time, you know, where his mom was at the point on life support but was declared like brain dead. And so it was just a question of when is everything going to be made official, when are you pulling the plug. And his resolve was kind of like frighteningly strong, like secure. And this is somebody who we are always talking about the word. He's not here, but he's in the word. He's pursuing the word constantly. And he said something that was just so, it sticks with me, and I have to share it because it's that powerful when somebody is in the face of losing their mother, and he had a good relationship with his mom. This is a woman who raised him very close. She raised her boys. She loved her boys. And he said to Drea and I, you know, he said, you know, what is our faith for? You know, he's like, our faith is for times like this, you know, and this is why do we even have anything to do with the word if we're not going to use it now? And it was like, and this is literally, his mom had just passed away. I'm like, literally, Drea and I were coming over there to be strong, you know, but part of us was prepared to weep with those who weep, you know, and it was like, now I got to pull it together because I'm about to break down. And just the strength of it. You could tell him that. I don't have that on my mind. You could. Oh yeah. Oh, and he was talking about his mom. I didn't know about that. That's right. In a moment of a real clear moment while his mom is going through this, he was also able to say, you know, we exercise our faith for moments like this, and we have to be careful what our words are, because he had heard his mother speaking words over her life that had essentially had him say, well, this is kind of what you spoke. And able to, because of the power he knew that was in the word and in our words, the fact that his mom had spoken words that had kind of created a dark path that ended, it made sense for him, and the Holy Spirit was able to reconcile all of this in a moment and create this resolve. So I have to share that with you all just to say the principles we're working, the word is real, the word is alive, and we have access to real life, concentrated, like potent access to the word, and it's not only within those of us that you see here, but we're all connected to people, and that family is coming. That family, like, he's a part of this family, whether he's in deeper life right now, acknowledging it or not. And that testimony is something that we can overcome by as well. That's something that is a part of our strength, and we can come and bring that in here because this is family. So yeah, I'll just leave that with y'all. All right, love you.
Hello, everyone. The vine, according to the way I see it, is Pastor Dan.
Hold that up, please.
Pastor Dan is serving Matthew Deutsch, and Matthew Deutsch is serving over Lewinson, who is serving his wife Rachel, Peter, and Joe Chicarico. Joe is serving myself. He's serving Luis and Bernard, and he has Van in his greenhouse. And I'm serving my wife Valerie, Nathaniel, and also Norman, and Nate is serving Eric, and Eric is actually have my son Maxwell in his greenhouse. So that is what the vine looks like to me. And I just want to also say thank you very much to Michelle, because through an act of kindness she had given me some CD tapes that I can now begin to digest, because it's right around the time where I'm looking for some information. As far as my three, Val has some cousins who are living in L.A. who are in the entertainment industry. So we're working on getting him some contacts there to help him move ahead with his pursuit out in California. I've also did some FaceTime, which is actually a lot better than getting on the phone or texting back and forth, because I get to see his expression, what he's going through, and we had a great time doing the FaceTime. As far as Nate's internship is going on, he's very excited about that, and looks like things are going to move forward for him. And I just told him just make sure that he just represents who he is and doesn't lose himself in trying to impress people. And my wife Valerie finished her master's last December, and she just finished taking her teacher's exam at the beginning of this month, so she's done with school as far as I know it. And so things are working out well with her. And the last thing I just want to talk about is Pastor Dan said this is an area where you develop your voice. I've been in many churches and have never had that opportunity. And, you know, you really got to plug in just what we've been getting over the last few weeks. And the thing that impacted me the most was last week when he talked to about what he said to Michael, when Michael said, "What should I talk about?" And he just says, "Ask Yahweh what the people need to hear to feel love." And that's what I took to Yahweh as I'm beginning to develop the message that he wants me to bring forth. And Taraka had said something last week, which is something I had been going through and had to really reevaluate. He says, look at your goals and keep on asking that question all the way back to what is this for? What is this for? And if it's really just to be comfortable, you have to reassess your goal. He was saying you don't want to just be at a place to do all this stuff so you can sit back and say, which is what Pastor Dan talked about, an answer. You got to keep on asking questions. And also Pastor Dan talked about Psalm 19 being the recalibration psalm, which is kind of where Yahweh has been bringing me, and we had today's message as well. And what he was showing me is, and this is from my experience, and I just got my chef's professional knife sharpener. And you don't know the difference between working with a dull knife and working with a sharp knife. And one of the things that they say in culinary school is the most dangerous weapon in a chef's kitchen is a dull knife. And see, we get dull. Why? Because when you keep on using that knife and keep on using that knife, you keep on walking through the world, keep on walking through the world, keep on looking at the news, keep on listening to stuff, you get dull. And when you're dull, you're dangerous, right? Now, in order to make a knife sharp, you have to start taking some stuff off. You actually share something. It depends upon how dull you are. You have to take some stuff off. And then, if you're kind of not dull, but it's called burr, you use it enough and kind of turns inside. You've seen the chefs do that thing. That's really just to realign the blade. And what Yahweh started showing me is that's what the tools are. There are things where you sit down and you have to have the tablecloth meeting. That's shaving some stuff off, because you kind of gone a little out of whack. But then you have the things like the red letter, the Sunday night meeting, the fruit of the Spirit. That's like the sharpening steel that just begins to bring you back into focus. And I was using a sharp knife, and I mean, it just cuts like butter. No resistance. You just go right through. And see, that's the thing I'm starting to see as I develop this message. When you get keen in hearing Yahweh's voice, you're where you need to be, when you need to be, doing the things you need to be doing so you're not getting in trouble, and that's where the blessing is. That's where you get blessed. That's where things open up. But when you're dull of hearing, you say the wrong thing, and you go in the wrong direction, and you wonder why you're where you're at. So that's what he's talking to me about, sharpening yourself. And I have a couple of scriptures, stuff that he's working on. But what's so funny is this morning, as an example, we were coming in the car, and Maxwell mentioned that he wanted to get a car for college because he wants to go to St. John's. And the first thing everybody started saying in the car, "Oh, you're not going to get a car." My wife said, "Oh, no, you don't need no car." He said, "Well, Grandma's going to get a new car." And she said she would give it. "Oh, yeah, she's been saying that all the time." This is what the girls started saying. And Max said, "Hey, I'm speaking what I want. So step off, everyone." And you know what everybody stopped and said? Wow. Yeah, I guess you're right. And see, and that's what I'm talking about. He knew what he wanted. He said, "I'm speaking what I want, and I'm not going to allow you guys to discourage me with all this stuff." And see, it was so, I mean, my wife, you know, she being the mother, my sisters being the sister, oh, yeah. But Max knew what he wanted. And he said, "Step off." He said, "I'm speaking what I want." And that gets back to this right here. You got to be sharp. You got to be ready. And when the stuff comes to dull you, got to say, "Step off." Anyway.
Good stuff right there. Let me ask, who's Valerie serving right now?
Valerie right now, well, she was serving my mother and my sister, but she needs to start looking out.
Right,
and also she has a person in St. Louis, one of her good friends.
All right. I'm just trying to get an idea, but good job on the vine. Everything good work.
Praise the Lord, everybody. Thank you, Yahweh. Orville Lewinson is serving me.
Okay.
Thus, I'm serving Larry, Luis, Van, and Pedro. Van is in my greenhouse, I believe.
All right.
And what I like to do with Deeper Life is not some club that we come to. It's a everyday living. It's a living testimony. And what I like to do with the guys, when we get together maybe once or twice a month, and my schedule is very busy. I mean, I'm spread out. Taraka mentioned being spread out. I'm very spread out because I have an IT job, plus I have outside computer businesses I do. So I'm working like 12, 14 hours a day. But I allocate time, maybe once or twice a month, to get together with the guys, and we talk about the 5 questions. And the best thing for me to serve them, or how can I serve you, is listening to them. Because I don't want to be the person just giving out advice. I want to listen and attentively hear what they're trying to say. With the backdrop of the 5 questions, what the miracles would look like, and et cetera, et cetera. So we go, and then we reassess that every month, because it may change, So I like to work with the guys, because everybody's working, they're busy, and so forth. So working with Luis and working with Larry and Van, with their dreams and their vision, what Yahweh has for them. So, with me, I'm have a very busy schedule, but I still find the time to stay in rhythm and read the red letters and follow instructions. The best of ability. I'm not perfect, but it's being developed. It's in progress. So I just want to talk about that.
Good job.
How's everybody doing? That's good. Well, I'm being served by Nathaniel, and I'm serving Maxwell, and I'm also serving Ashley Turner, who just started coming here. He actually works with me, and the Lord used me to get him plugged in, so now he's attending church, and he's coming to boot camp. So that's been a blessing. So with Maxwell, he's doing well in school. He's playing basketball. And as you can see, he's stepping up more boldness. He's claiming what he wants. He's going after it. And he's speaking it into existence. So that's powerful. Ashley Turner, he's doing pretty well too. I've talked with him. And right now, he's an actor. And he feels like the Lord is telling him to become an acting coach. So now he's talking with people. The people are coming up to him saying, hey, you should coach. You should coach me. I would like to become a better actor. So that's what he's doing now. And he also feels like the Lord is showing him that he needs to develop his craft as an actor. And I'm an actor myself, so that spoke to me as well. So that's something else the Lord has been showing me. I need to develop my craft. And Nate, right after we finished working out, the Holy Spirit spoke right through him, and he felt like a tingling sensation in his legs by the Holy Spirit. And he said, and Nathan, what was the word? You can come up here and say it. Yeah. What was
I basically said, speak on it. Wait, speak it to existence and act on it. And I kept on repeating it.
Yep. Speak on it. Speak it into existence and act on it. That was powerful, and that really stuck with me too. And the next couple of days, I just started finding time to develop my craft and practice acting. So that's been a blessing. But as far as other people, I noticed different places I would go to, usually on the train, at Penn Station or random places I would go to. The Lord would put me he would put people in my path, and I would tell them, about this church. I would give them information, or like the Lord will use me to pray for people. Like just recently at Penn Station yesterday, I was watching these people breakdancing outside, and this lady comes up to me, and we just start talking about, how they were dancing and about the different performances that happened in New York. And I noticed that she had like a leg brace on. So I asked her what had happened, and we spoke a little bit longer, and she allowed me to pray for her. And she was on crutches, and the power of God was present, and she was healed, and she walked without the crutches. So that was powerful. And wow. Glory to the Lord. And I gave her some information about the church. And then another guy who was listening while I was praying came over, and he said he had high blood pressure and he wanted to be healed. And I prayed for him and gave him information about the church too. So I'm believing they're going to be here at this church in Yeshua's name. And also, I used to be kind of scared at my job to kind of like pray for people at my job. Like at my new job and everything, I was worried about. I didn't want to lose it or anything. I was worried about that. But the Lord put this boldness in me. Like the other week, last week, one of the big time people that works in the office, who's in charge of hiring people, had a sore throat. But it was first another lady who worked there, who said she wasn't feeling well, and I overheard her, and I was like, I would like to pray for you. I felt her faith by the Holy Spirit. I felt her faith. And I told her I would like to pray for you. So she allowed me to pray for her in the office, and she was healed. And then the other lady who I was telling you about was listening. And she said, I need healing too. And she received healing. So I'm using that. The Lord is using me, using that gift to tell people about this church and getting them plugged in. So that's been a blessing. And I've been experiencing favor. Like my boss texted me and said, I have a gig for you, to be on, what's that show?
Good Morning America.
Good Morning America. So she told me that she had connected me with some people. She told them my class conflict, that I was working in the schools. But apparently I didn't hear back from them. Like I thought it was like a set-on gig. So, but they have my credentials. They have my headshot. So, never know what Yahweh is going to do with that. So I just praise the Lord for that favor, for His blessings and His provision. So that's all I wanted to share.
Hold up 1 second, Shator. Thank you. Good job, Eric. What we're going to do right now, since it's 4:05, we're going to let everybody testify, and we'll go as long as we need to let everybody get voice. But we're going to receive our monthly offering right now for My Deeper Life, and if you have to go, you get to go, because it is 4. So we want to allow everybody to go if they have to go. But everybody should give their pledge in every month. Let's make sure we're doing that, because everybody has to pull their weight. Nobody has to do more than they can do, but everybody should do something for Deeper Life every month. So do what you can. Ask the Lord what it is that He would have you do this month. Do your very best. If you need an offering envelope, make your check payable to My Deeper Life. It goes into a separate account. Everybody should do something. Once a month, do that, because there are expenses for Deeper Life. Amen? Everybody should do. And if you're online, make sure you give. Just mark it to Deeper Life, and Kim will know that it's different, and we'll get it over to Deeper Life. And make sure, if you're online, that you're doing everything you can to get out to the call on Tuesday night. And also, do me a favor and either go out to the page, go out to the Faith Exchange page, or go wherever you got to go, and show us the vine from your perspective. I always like to see that. It's important not only for me to see it, but it's important for you to see it. Part of the reason why I like to look at it is because your descriptions of people, I like to know where people are. I like to know what people are up to, who people are. Norman being in California. I got Eddie Othan in Arizona. I got the Kelly and Elson out there. I got Matthew in Chicago. I got Deborah and Sam Smelser also in California. I've got Janan. Her whole vine is in North Carolina. I got Ginny King in Colorado. There's a lot of people around the country. I got Aunt Deb in Wisconsin. There's a lot of people around the country doing a lot of different things. We've got another group, Colleen and another woman that are also in Colorado that are joining and starting to get involved. And the more you begin to serve people, this is going to grow. Also, it's fun to see the vine as it grows. However you envision the vine, I envision it growing up. So I'm at the very bottom, deep under the ground, and I envision it growing up. And so I kind of count the layers. So if it completely filled out, you go 3, 9, 27, 81, 243, 729, 2143. We're already out into areas. If it completely grew out, we'd have many, many people, into the thousands of people involved. So we need to really start to add people. And you heard how Eric is inviting people. You hear how Taraka is inviting people, how people are being involved. And I was talking to Luis earlier, and I said to Luis on Wednesday night, I said, Luis, just start serving your mom. Don't even tell her she's in deeper life. Just start being kind to her. Just start working the principles and then invite her to the call. Just start serving people, and then they're in deeper life, and then they get used to the principles. And I think it was Rosa that said it like this: oh, we were working these principles before there was deeper life. Of course. What do you think, I just made these things up? I mean, these principles worked long before we called it deeper life, The principles are real. So, I mean, I'm not making these things up. We're trying to get as close to the ministry of Jesus as we possibly can get. We're not just trying to come up with something that we can brand and call our own, you know what I mean? So it's pretty cool. So Kathy's receiving the offering. Michelle is receiving the offering. They're working their way through. And let us welcome Shakur as he comes up and testifies while we receive the offering. Go ahead. Shakur, what's your last name? Go ahead. Tell everybody.
What's my last name?
Well, I'll say, hi, I'm Shakur Burden.
Hi, I'm Shakur Burden. I'm not a new member to this church. First off, I just want to say thank you to Pastor Dan. He's a good guy. I love him very much because he's made me stronger.
No, you're doing good.
And he's very powerful. And as you all heard him, I'm hard of hearing sometimes because I feel that just because I'm a young adult, I don't have to listen to my elders. Which is not the case. I'm still in high school. This is my old living environment teacher, Mr. Luis Alzea. This is my old teacher assistant, Erica Robinson. And I just want to give Yahweh all the praise, the power, and the glory for just for my ability to speak, talk, walk, laugh, joke. Thanking him for every Sunday to see all your beautiful faces and for your loving and caring support. I just want to say that just 2 Sundays ago, I was on my way to church, my other church in Queens. This is where I really come. But yeah, I was going there for something to see a lady in the church, and I received a call from my sister, and she said that my mother was sick, that she was in Westchester Medical Center. My mother constantly has heart attacks. She has thyroid problems, and she has high blood pressure. So it's really hard for me because I'm going through my own situation. I'm getting my situation corrected. I just thank God for being there with me no matter what. So I run to him no matter what. No matter what, I always run to him first. My family and I'm kind of on my own. Like, I don't talk to none of my family. We all kind of separated because my father died when I was 10, and my mother's been in and out of jail. She did 9. She got 11 years. She's doing 2 more. So long story short, she 2 Sundays ago had triple bypass surgery, and I was the only one in the hospital with her, and I couldn't make it here. I was the only one there. None of my family went with me. They didn't care, in their words. And I had told my sister, no matter what mommy did, that's still your mother. You only get one mother. So put the differences beside, swallow your pride, and still be there with me, But instead, I was the only one there. So it hurt me, but I didn't care at all because that's still my mother, and my mother had done some wrong things to me. But I realized that if it wasn't for my mother, I wouldn't be here. So I went up there, and I gave her my all, and the doctor had told me that, for some reason I asked the doctor, would she remember anything after she gets out of surgery? And I didn't think she would. The doctor said no. But my mother didn't remember anything. It was an 8-hour surgery. I was there with her 2 hours before she went into surgery, and like an hour after she came out of surgery. It was an 8-hour surgery, and before my mother went in, she said she started crying. She started bugging out, and I was like, "Ma, just calm down, calm down." She was like, "Tell your sisters I love them," and just really crying and like getting herself worked up. Her blood pressure went up and everything, so they're like trying to calm her down. And I'm like, believe it or not, I wasn't crying. I wasn't upset. I was upset. I was hurt, but I didn't shed not one tear. The reason, I just thank God for giving me that strength. First of all, I just thank Him for giving me that strength, even though it was very hard because I was the only one there. I didn't shed a tear because I had faith. I had faith that God would put her in there and put her in the right arms, and that He would make sure the doctors and the nurses and everybody would do their right job, and that the machines would keep her stable, and even though she had so many bad conditions, that she would still come out whole, healthy, and prosperous. I don't know how you say it, but right, prosperous. And she did. And what helped was me. I helped because she had told me that she didn't expect anyone to come, because she didn't. Even when she's in prison, I'm the only one that goes to see her. I'm the only one that buys her things when I have, and do a lot of things for her out of my whole family, even before her mother. So she didn't expect anyone to be there, and I showed up, and she said that she's thankful for me, because if it wasn't for me, she didn't think she would have made it out. I learned a lot of things from that situation, not only about health, but it was really traumatic for me, and I didn't really have no support. I called Miss Erica crying. I left her voicemail. No one picked up my phone call. I text Van. No one really got back to me, but I just held on through the grace of God. I held on, and that just made me so strong. It just made me, just the thought of losing my mother, so I can relate to what you were saying, Taraka. It just made me really strong. So no matter what, no matter what, I'm never going to lose my faith, because He's able. He's really able. God is good. Thank you.
That was an awesome testimony. And the great part was that she survived. She came out of the surgery. That's awesome. So my name is Andrea Patterson, and I'm serving Angela Burchett, who's probably watching. She was texting me through the whole service today like, "Oh my God, praise Yahweh. This is so awesome. He's on fire today." I'm like, "Oh my God." So she was definitely watching today. So hi, Ange, if you are. I'm also serving Rachel Trigarico. Happy birthday, sweetheart. And I am serving Gloria, who had to leave, and greenhousing Sherelle, and I am not serving Destiny Lewis, but I have to testify about this girl today. First of all, she is serving me. She is one of the best people that I know. Whenever I think about this girl, I want to cry, because she is literally amazing. She has helped me with our girls in ways that she's from Yahweh. She's my little angel. She really is. She's been with the girls since they were very young, learning, how to take care of small children so she can learn how to babysit and earn some extra money. And every time I would try to go and pay her for anything during the summers, her mother would say, "This is a seed," during the summertime. So when the winter rolled around and she was getting her footing, she's in high school now, she comes with all of these things that she's learned over the 2 summers and all of these lessons. She's speaking the word over my children. My children are like so obedient when she's around. My mother found out that Destiny was coming. She said, oh, the girl's role model are coming over. She's coming over tonight. I said, yes, she is. And I thought about maybe canceling on her yesterday, but I didn't want to disappoint either one of them, the girls or Destiny, because it was so much snow coming, we didn't know if we were going to go out for Rachel's birthday. But I said, she just has to come anyway. And now I get to sow seed into her life, and she's going to Spain, and she's going abroad, and all I can think about is what can we do for this girl? She's so amazing. So I just wanted to praise Yahweh because she's being served by 2 of the most amazing parents you guys will ever see this side of creation, because she got that from somewhere. She got it from somewhere. So I just want to give it up for Destiny. Just in love with her. So she just makes me smile. So that's a praise report in itself. I want to give some awesome praise reports. Ashley is a occupational or physical therapist, and Eliel had a hematoma. She hit her face on a windowsill, and she bled underneath her skin, and we didn't know. We thought it was like discoloration from the bruising, but what happened is scar tissue started to form, and it looks like she has a dimple now. So we've been praying over her and believing Yahweh that she's beautiful. So it's like, you're beautiful, you're beautiful, you're beautiful. We don't want her to become self-conscious about it. But Ashley brought Ellie a little baby toothbrush to begin to massage the inside of it. And she was trying to tell me how to do it. It turned into a 45-minute full-on face massage. And Ellie was like, oh. She was in heaven. And I was just like, favor surrounds these girls like a shield. And they just love Ashley. Every time they see her, they just run up to her. But that was an act of kindness to me because that's my child. To me, they're like precious stone coming out of the earth. Like, they're just for me. Like, my jewelry, my adornment, my responsibility, my gifts, my precious gifts. They're my everything. I just love them. And I'm just like, wow, favor surrounds us like a shield. And I get to enjoy them at home. I don't have to run out and go to work. Hallelujah! Praise Yahweh. That's been a precious gift, and that's been an ongoing act of kindness by your boy Taraka right here. Let me stay home for the past 3 years. Hello, sweetness. Another act of kindness was, well, all that Destiny does, but Rachel and Angela are people who constantly speak the word over the girls. We had a little stomach bug thing going on, and I was just like, no, we don't get sick. Angela FaceTimed the girls and was like, no, we're not doing this. She was praying over the girls every day. Rachel was coming over, laying hands, refusing, like yelling at them, binding up any symptoms, fevers, anything you can think of, just praying over the girls constantly. And to me, that you can't do anything more for me than you can do for my kids. So I'm just like very grateful. And last week, Pastor Annie, it was an act of kindness because last week I was really pressing in, and this scripture was in my heart to share as I got up here. And the refining pot is for silver, and the furnace is for gold, but Yahweh tries the hearts. And when I tell you guys that the Holy Spirit is a precious gift to us, He didn't just see it fit to manifest Himself in the flesh and be a man, because the Holy Spirit is that thing that refines us. If He wants to refine silver and gold, what about His first fruits? And that's us. And we really have to remember that refining process is from the Holy Spirit. That shin, that thing that's going to burn off all the bad stuff. Come on, that's important, and that's what my deeper life is. It's our opportunity to get refined so that our voices can be received by people who need to know the truth, but without all of the garbage on it. You know what I'm saying? You give somebody a gift and they smell like They don't want it. I don't want it. All right? And I really appreciate that last year, the end of last year, I wrote something on Facebook. Pastor Dan called me like, "What's wrong with you, girl?" And I was like, "You saw." But he was basically like, "Get yourself together. Don't chase after people. You let people follow you because you're going to get the answer, and you let that be the answer for them. But don't let Drea get stressed out. Don't get off your course. Don't be over there snapping at the girls because you can't figure out a solution for somebody grown." You know what I mean? Like, you focus on that which Yahweh has given to you. And Yahweh has given each of us these very precious gifts / responsibilities / things that make you get up early in the morning, or make you drink water, or make you exercise, or make you say I love you, or make you just put your guard down. But it's because he wants us to be focused. That's our refining pot. That's our furnace. My children are my furnace. Hello, somebody. Because they be like, "Ma, wake up. I'm going to need that oatmeal. I'm going to need that water. I'm going to need some carrots." I'll be like, "Oh, my God, you want to eat all that right now?" But I really do get a chance to be a better Andrea because my children are asking me to be a better person. Taraka's asking me to be a better person. Taraka's like, "I'm sorry, but you're going to have to get over it." And I'm like, "Oh, my God, he's right, because there's nothing else to do. There's nowhere else to go. There's nobody else here. It's just us. I have to take care of my kids. And I have to give them my best self." So the epiphany, not epitome, but epiphany that I had coming into this year was so powerful, because the epiphany was, you don't break yourself down to serve. That's not Yeshua's model. That's not the way he did it. He went to the Father, got everything he needed to give what he needed to the people. And he didn't give them any more, any less. When people came running after him, he was going about his business. He didn't let a sob story stop him. If he needed to stop and heal, that's what he did. That was his business. But he wasn't getting drugged behind and off his course. Yahweh trying to talk to him. He like, "Hold on a second. She really going through?" No. He really was focused on what he had to do, y'all. It's not noble to be nice. We are obedient people, not noble people. We're not nice people. We're obedient people. And that's what gets the blessing to come in, okay? So I was like, you know what? I'm a nice person. I was raised well, but I tell you what, y'all really, I can't deal with all that. Like Gloria said, all the sob story, all the problem describing. You know what? I have 3-year-old little people that don't know about negativity. Yeah, I need to keep it positive right now. I really do. And I have Angela and Gloria and Rachel really dependent on me to be positive, okay? So I did a 30-day card, January 1st. And I've asked Yahweh for an increase because I wanted to work. I have a new agent, and I wanted to exercise that work. And so I said, Yahweh, I want a job. And I said, whether it's a job in the dietitian field, because I really, I have passion for healthy food, or whether it is a reoccurring role or a theater or a television film, whatever it is you want me to have, I want it. But I want to be able to be home with my family, because that's my strength, my family. And during that time, I reached out to Nubella. She blessed my soul. She encouraged me. She began to help me in ways that were scary, because I had to ask myself questions that I hadn't asked myself about what my capabilities were, what my skill sets were, what I had learned already, what I needed to learn, what I needed to gain. And as I did that process, both of us started to figure stuff out about our calling. It was like firecrackers. Every time we get on the phone, we just start yelling at each other, text messages as long as, the hour away. And I was like, wow. So she started to help me develop a resume in the area of dietitian work. But all while I'm doing this, I work for a company that they buy and sell to Whole Foods. And if any of you know me, that's like my dream come true to work for Whole Foods. So anyway, I am a merchandiser. Like, I would do it for extra money. I'd be going there at 5 a.m., to 10 a.m. once or twice. Taraka wouldn't even miss me because I'd be home by the time the girls eating oatmeal. I mean, you know, but I mean, like, you know, he's waking up when I'm walking in the door, like, yeah, hey, good morning, making oatmeal and stuff, and so it was me to make a little extra money, a little hair money, you know, a little nail money, a little bill money, and so I was happy to hell. I was happy to have a little tithe in my hand. And so it turned, I mean, months and months, and I would be like 5 a.m., oh my God, how did I sign up for this? But this is just in the area of healthy food and eating, just part of my passion, part of my life. During my 30-day card, Pastor Dan, I know New Bella's downstairs shouting, okay? I got a call from the woman who gives me these, she's the one that sends me out to New Jersey Whole Foods to do merchandising. Never met her. Met her through my neighbor Marsha, who was there at the house when we first moved there, who has since moved and still had given me contacts for in the health food industry. She said, I'm going on maternity leave. I would like to meet with you to teach you what I do so that you can do it. And I was like, wow. So this is all still within that 30 days. And you know what's so important about concentrating on the solution? Is that my number one goal starting off the year was that I would have the mind of Moshiach. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to think like him, walk like him, talk like him, act like him, react like him, kiss like him, raise my children like him. Everything I did, I wanted to have the mind of Moshiach. And so, I'm still coming into that. So the whole time, I'm not even noticing that a job is coming in, and I'm believing Yahweh for that. I'm still noticing that I'm not doing something enough. I'm falling short. That's you know, I see myself like that sometimes. It's like that I'm not doing enough. But within the same 30 days, my mother got a hold of me, and I've been putting a demand on the Holy Spirit through her because I'm like, oh, you're going to be together. You know, we have to have you together, and you can only do that in Yeshua. So I put a demand on her through the Holy Spirit, whether she has the answer or not, because she's not who I go to first for the answer anyway. So I'll be like, Ma, I got a problem. And she'd be like, we're going to figure this out. She would call me back 2-3 days later with a word from God. I'm like, this is awesome. This is the woman who raised me. I love that. So she got me together. She said, Andrea, you call your agent because God made you and put you on this earth to be basically in the limelight, in so many words. She said, you call her and you bust her door down. This is in 30-day period. So I'm like, dietitian work, acting work, whatever. You know, I'm doing it. My heart was pounding outside of my shirt. I called my agent. I said, may I speak to Meg? Her assistant wouldn't even put her on the phone. I said, Katie, let me tell you something. I need to tell you something. I said, I'm trying to get y'all some money. I'm trying to make this money. Y'all want to make some money? You send me out to get some work, and I'll get it, and we'll all get paid. Next thing I know, I'm in front of a casting director that I've been trying to get in front of for years. So that's another praise report within itself. Got callbacks, had a great time, but I knew that those weren't jobs that I would necessarily book or get, but it was my opportunity for the Holy Spirit to really see where I was standing. Like, what you doing, baby girl? Are you ready or not? Spent money on pictures that weren't allocated for that at the time. You know what I mean? We're saving. We're believing Yahweh for a home and everything this year, a new and bigger home. So there were things that we were doing by faith that he honored. And I'm telling you, the reward, and I did another 30-day card, and I got even more specific on February 1st. And it's just, Yahweh's like, listen, I have everything you need. And your greatest witness is to be your best self. Because those great cloud of witnesses, Sophia, Eliel, Taraka, Rachel, Angela, Gloria, those are my witnesses, and I have to be my best self. So the basics are literally the least that we can do. So, encourage you to do that and more. Hallelujah!
Good evening, everyone. How's everybody doing? All right, well, I'm being served by Taraka wonderfully, even though we don't kick it as much as him and Drea. But we've been kicking it up here at the music, so that's really been good. And I'm serving Kim Campbell, and that's really been a joy. Actually, I think we tried to work in this type of relationship maybe a few years ago, and we kind of talk about that it was everybody's trying to feel their way through, but it comes back around. We just kept trying to work on the friendship. We didn't know each other. We just kind of started learning each other through Facebook and trying to do the whole mentor or just the serving principle. But now it's really starting to come together, just becoming friends, which is what the whole thing is all about. And I'm just really impressed by how he's come in and just become such a vital part of the family. I did a show, I think it was in February or something, whenever I did my last show up in Harlem. He showed up and supported me at the show, and I actually performed with Willie Mae Perry, who gave an awesome show on Valentine's Day. And Kim Campbell and Kim Jones, came out to support that. So just the fact that he comes out and he just supports everybody, because that, for artists, when we produce a show, when you show up, it's a tremendous blessing to us, because it's how we pay the venue and it's how we pay our musicians. And I would have done it for free, but she blessed me with something I could tithe on today, so that's a blessing. And she also she spoke something over me, just said something to me that the other day that said that she doesn't think sometimes that I realize how good I am on the trumpet. And I said, well, maybe so. And I realized that's true in a sense, and some of it is just masks that I put up over the years, I guess, to kind of protect myself through my own personal journey of, this is a hyper competitive business art form, and I'm as competitive as they come. I'm uber competitive, and I play to win, but a lot of times people would put stumbling blocks in front of your way, and I came up another way in terms of how I developed. I've always had a very unique individual voice on the horn, and because it didn't sound like everybody thought it should sound, I kind of got ridiculed and even laughed at early. Yeah, you might not believe that, but yeah, I was the joke of the band. So now people on Facebook went to high school with, they say, wow. It was like I wouldn't have thought it was going to be you. Even though I did accomplish some things, because I was focused and I had a lot of faith and I believed in Yahweh. But I think what we've talked about, when they say beloved, I'm trying to learn now how to be loved, because I used the fact that people ridicule me. That was my fire. That was my motivation to, I'm going to show them, kind of thing. So I don't want to play music from that perspective anymore. Like I'm in here practicing because I'm, what? I can't, I was the kind of, if you told me I couldn't be president, better start singing Hail to the Chief. Because that's just how I am, But I am learning how to be loved, and I just want to play music and do whatever I do, everything just to be motivated by love. It's not about that whole other, competitive. I don't have to show anybody anything. I just have to show my love and what Yahweh has done through me. So, as I said, I'm serving Kim Campbell, and on the 26th, I'm going to serve whoever comes here, because I'm going to be delivering a message on the Wednesday night. Yes. And I've been preparing. I started a month out. I started a month out just preparing myself. I don't usually reveal that I'm fasting or whatever, but I started fasting on January 26th. And, and I've been just reading the Word, studying the Word, and praying for all of you. Praying for whoever's going to be here that night, whoever might hear it on a CD. And I thank you, Pastor Dan, for putting this demand on me, because I'm learning what it really means to lay your life down for your friends. Because right now, if you ask me, what do I want? I just want to be there and just open for the anointing to flow through me that day. And if they say, what's stopping you? Nothing. Nothing. It's like, what's your next doable step? Just keep praying for the people. Just keep studying the word. Just kind of shut all the other things out and just really go into that secret place and just let the word fill you up. Just let the word fill you up, and trust that on that day, the Holy Spirit will speak if I just prepare myself and put the word in me and just let it flow through me. And what am I grateful for? I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be used by him, and for the opportunity to have this awesome relationship with him and to grow even deeper as I'm having to do at this time, And I'm enjoying the fasting. I'm enjoying the praying. I've lost 15 pounds in the process. Yeah. And I still I'm not sure where it even is on the calendar. I know it's coming up soon. So I've been preparing. I haven't made an outline, and I've been actually so into it. I've been dreaming that I've been either up here or dreaming I'm in some really great concerts. And I had this really funny dream the other morning. It was like I was up here, and it was like a curtain, and it was like it was almost time for me to do my message. And so then I realized that although I was preparing, I wasn't really ready yet, because I haven't really done this whole outline. So it probably was just a reflection of exactly where I am right now. But then I realized it wasn't my turn yet. I heard, it's somebody else is coming up. I don't know who she was. Maybe somebody's coming here. But there was another young lady who somebody in here knew who was going to deliver a message. So she started to deliver a message, and I kind of went out there and was, listening to the message. And she started preaching about we aren't defiled by what goes into our mouth, but what comes out. So I don't eat pork. I stopped eating pork because there was some generational things in terms of high blood pressure and things like that in my family. So I figured I won't eat pork. I want to take those steps to break those things off, those bondages off of my life. So she's preaching it strong. And you know how when somebody's preaching something and you're out there, you want to kind of dig into what they're saying. So while I'm sitting out there and she's really preaching this hard and everybody's amen, and then Taraka comes over to me with this big plate of pork ribs. He was like, come on now, it's not what goes into your mouth that defiles a man, and that's what's going through the whole thing. And I'm like, no, I don't want these ribs. And I kept, he was the Taraka was over, but he was helping whoever was preaching. Man, he had this, and they was looking good, because I didn't stop eating pork because I didn't like it. I just thought it wasn't good for me. So I was like, man, come on, give me them ribs. I took the ribs. I didn't eat them. I took them. I took them home. Then it faded into something else. I said, either I'll eat these ribs, because I told myself one day I was going to eat some pork ribs, somewhere in the future, just to treat myself or whatever. But that means that it's kind of all in me right now. I'm preparing myself. And I'm just going to let it happen. And I'm going to have the courage to do it. And as he said today, he was speaking, that was to me, that it might not be perfect, but it'll be perfect in that moment because of how I prepared, and I've had to do that because, as I said, I'm that kind of personality that I know I have. I'll be trying to deliver the Sermon on the Mount. But it probably won't be the Sermon on the Mount. It might be the sermon on the step stool or whatever, but I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be here to serve, and I'm gonna be here to love you. And come out. Yeah, come out. It's gonna be what it is, and praise Yah.
I'm Kim Campbell, and
bring it up closer.
Yeah, this is part of the reason I'm doing this, because I have absolutely no experience in doing so, and figured this is the opportunity to help develop that tool. We're supposed to get our voice, and I guess part of that would be to just get up here. I don't have much to say other than there was a long hiatus between Pastor Dan and my getting together, and it was unusual circumstance, but what ended up happening is that I actually got here finally. I've been very privileged to know Pastor Dan for a very long time, and now I can say that I'm very privileged to see his extended family. You're really an exciting and exuberant bunch, and I learn a lot from all of you, and I appreciate it. As Michael said, I'm being served by him, and I have the honor to serve Noreen Newiston. The other thing that I wanted to share with you is that my feeling is that Michael has been preaching for quite some time with his horn. I'm committed to helping him in my fumbling way, and I have committed to at least starting to make some phone calls. I'm going to start with, what did I say it was? Smalls. So I know nothing about any of this stuff, but I've gone a fairly long way, knowing very little, but stumbling, and with the grace of Yahweh, much appreciated. And I'm willing to do that for any other artists out here. Perhaps we can form some kind of synergy and actually learn, and who knows where that can go. So I'm confessing this to all of us, so that I'm now out there, and you can call me on whether or not I'm following through. I appreciate it if you would. I have a tendency to keep most things close to the vest. For instance, there were just tons of people who don't know where I went to school or what I've done or anything, and they're usually surprised when they hear it. The one thing that I am going to share with you that for a long time I kept close to the vest, and that is that I'm committed to, in my way, bringing people here to the church. And the way that I would do it is through polo. So if you would be so kind as to, because I think that we can help change the world through polo. My idea is called YOLO Polo. You only live once, polo. And the idea is that we are going to have inner city youth learn to play the game of polo. My next step is to find the land, and then the horses, and the funding. So please stay with me on that and call me on it regularly. Thank you.
Awesome. Good job. Well, I think we had a really nice master class today. One of the things I want to do is just set that right there, Kathy. Kathy doing her bent over thing there. Praise the Lord. Very traditional. Whatever that is. Hallelujah. Kathy's served by Michelle. Michelle, who are you served by? Ginny, who's Ginny served by? Kim Jones? You sure? Okay. All right. Well, it's a place for me to start my investigation. Carmen, who's serving you? Kimberly Winfrey. Who's serving Kimberly Winfrey? Okay, it's all right. Start my investigation. Okay, I know Kim Jones is serving you, and you're serving Kathy, right? Ashley, you're being served by who? Angela, right? And you're serving Marty, and are you also serving Callie still? Awesome. Say it again. Billie Jean Martin is All right. Is she the one that played? Who's Billie Jean Martin? Describe her. She played the ukulele? Okay. You're going to find out a little bit more about her so I can have a little understanding of her. Okay, good. So you have 3. Awesome. How's Marty doing? Okay, good. Well, we got to believe God so you can come be with us when we go to the Navajo. I think you'd really enjoy it. We have to get the exact dates when we're going to go. We have to figure out, I think destiny is kind of being served. So how do we do that? We have to learn how to serve people through people. Instead of having like 62 people in our vines, you know, across the line like Evelyn does. So Evelyn, I'm speaking this out just through Rosa, through who Rosa's gone already, but the idea is not to go too wide, but to learn to serve through. So like in Evelyn's case, where she's got 6 people, just assign, for example, Grace to Sheila and just serve Grace anyway through Sheila. Like in Dria's case, I don't know where Nubella is in the vine. I know they're downstairs right now. I don't know where Keith is, where Mac is. All those people need to be down through probably Leroy's part of the vine, but they need to be served. Even if there's somebody who's a little bit weak, we can serve them through. When I mean weak, I don't mean they're weak. I mean they're not that good communicators. We need to serve them. Some of us are stronger communicators. And we need to. Peter Irving's kind of a dangling whatever that is. He's there and he's strong. Peter Irving's very strong. And we just need to get him involved over on Orville's part. With Orville and Rachel being moved and kind of in transition right now, we've got to figure out a way to bolster them up because we don't want to lose them in their transition. We want to keep them in. What we saw today, which was really powerful, was Rosa coming back. See, that's one of the things you don't want to do when somebody goes into a transition is you don't want to ostracize them in their transition. That's an important thing. You want to let them do what they're doing. Let them find their footing, whatever. And if they decide to go, let them go. But if they decide to come back, during that transition, you don't want to have said anything or done anything that doesn't allow them to come back. Does that make sense? So that's the case with Orville and Rachel right now. They're not around a lot right now. We don't want to say anything or do anything that won't allow them to come back. Does that make sense? Not that they're gone. They probably don't feel like they're gone, but we feel like they're gone a little bit because we don't see them as much. So we just got to make sure we don't say anything, do anything, act any way that make it. And they may be watching right now, but we got to make sure that they're loved, that our thoughts, that our words, no matter what, are loving towards them. In any case, that doesn't matter. They could be gone for 10 years, 15 years. Like I've got people I love from. I think of Esther Gadpai. I think of the DiMaggios. I think of Pierre and Yadi. I think of people, Jay and Sally Plourde. I think of people. I can list a lot of them. Frank DeRossi. People that have been in ministry with me, served hard with me, that left for whatever reason. If they come back, I don't want to have said something in my hurt or my pain for the moment that caused them not to be able to come back. And I need that same quality from you. So we just don't speak ugly if they go, for whatever reason. Because it does hurt when somebody leaves. You know what I mean? It just does. We love them, right? Not only does it hurt because they leave and we miss them, it hurts because they leave and the work gets harder. Because there's more work to do. Okay? Especially like Rachel and Orville, who were doing a lot of work, or Pierre when he was doing a lot of work, or the DiMaggios, who were doing all the work when they were here. Children's Church, and Steve was doing all the ministry helps and all that stuff. So that just goes on and on. So it's just a lot of love that's here. So it was really good to see Rosa back. It's really good to see that. And you got to love people. It's just the way it is. I don't know. This deeper life is sometimes too strong for us. We're on to something here. That's all I got to say. What's really fun is Kim's not here. She's a keeper on my calendar. I think I'm preaching Wednesday. Right? I know my wife's preaching the 23rd. Michael's preaching the 26th. There's coming a day when I don't know how often I'm going to be preaching. But some of y'all's voices are going to, which is going to be fine because the word will be just as good. It'll be just as strong. And I'm sure God will figure someplace out for me to preach because I'm good. But maybe not here. I mean, I'm good at what I do, and my voice will be heard. But your voices need to be heard too. And that's all right. And so, and I have to get out of the way. It's just important. It's important, and that's true. And I get to preach pretty much every day anyway. So it's all good. Well, I love you very much. Good service. Get home safely. Truck, you have room? Are you going home? Can I get a ride? I don't have wheels. All right. You're all dismissed. God bless you. Can I fit in your car?